Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Sorry about the voice and all of that. It is allergy season here in the Northeast, and it just descended upon me. But anyway, we'll muddle through. A bad day for Obamacare at the Supreme Court. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Consensus is that Solicitor General Donald Verrilli, representing the Obama administration, did not make a strong argument in asserting that the federal government has a right to force Americans to buy health insurance or anything else for that matter. Verrilli got caught when he tried to call the fine that would be imposed if Americans didn't buy health insurance a tax. Liberal Justice Stephen Breyer wasn't buying it.
If they've paid the tax, then they're in compliance with the law.
Why do you keep saying tax?
If they pay the tax penalty, they're in compliance with the law. Thank you, Justice Breyer.
A penalty. That's
right. Yeah.
All right, of course it's a penalty. This tax thing is completely bogus. It's a penalty. And that means the government is punishing us if we don't conform to the federal demand to purchase what they want us to purchase. That, ladies and gentlemen, is flat out unconstitutional. The feds cannot force us to buy anything. Nowhere in the Constitution is that power found. The other pro-Obamacare argument is equally weak. The so-called Commerce Clause, whereby the feds regulate interstate transactions, gives Congress the power to force us to buy things. I pointed that out last night. One thing that the federal government compels you to buy. One thing.
Well, let me say that under the Militia Act of 1792, people were compelled to buy muskets and powder. But this actually doesn't require the Militia Act. This doesn't actually require people to buy health insurance. And I think it would be good if you read the legislation, because it doesn't. It imposes a penalty. And a penalty is different from forcing people to buy.
That's compelling somebody to do something if you're going to punish them for not doing it. No. Now, the Militia Act of 1792, I'm sure we're all familiar with that. Very interesting. That was basically a mandate by the federal government to the 14 existing states at the time to raise a standing militia so the new nation could defend itself if invaded, as it was in 1812. The Militia Act had nothing to do with commerce, so Ms. Frederickson, with all due respect, was misleading you. Today it became clear in the Supreme Court that most of the justices are extremely skeptical of Obamacare.
Here the government is saying that the federal government has a duty to tell the individual citizen that it must act, and that is different from what we have in previous cases. Well, that changes the relationship of the federal government to the individual in a very fundamental way.
In other words, if Obamacare is allowed to stand, federal power would be increased to a point where Americans could be told exactly how to spend their money. Precedent will be established, but it won't be. The court is going to rule the health care mandate unconstitutional. It has to. The justices cannot allow a power grab like that. In the end, America must overhaul its health care system. We all know that. And it must use the free market to do it. Obamacare is a disaster, economically, socially, and politically. And that's the truth.